Hey everybody, welcome to the We Are Wonderbound panel. I am Rebecca Taylor. I'm the managing editor of Wonderbound, which is the upcoming young readers imprint from Vault Comics. At Wonderbound, we are a publisher of largely middle grade graphic novels in the genre space. Every book we do here is a celebration of curiosity and imagination and hope. We are looking to engage young readers with the timeless storytelling of graphic novels through heartfelt tales of adventure and mystery in the genres of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. We've had such a wonderful US book show so far. We've had some great programming, but this is our last Wonderbound panel, and that is the one that I am so excited about because we finally get to announce some books that I have been absolutely dying to talk about for over a year. So I am really, really pumped to introduce these books. For anyone that's been following our programming, you will have heard us gush about our year one books. We have 4 books launching in 2021 in September and October that we're so proud of to kick off the line. We got WRASSLE Castle, Volume 1 from the creative team of Paul Tobin, Colleen Coover, and Galad. We've got Verse from writer-illustrator Sam Beck. We have got The Unfinished Corner from writer Danny Coleman and illustrator Rachel Tuna Petrovich, and Hello, My Name is Poop from writer Ben Katzner and illustrator Ian McGinty. So we're so excited about those books, but we are here today to talk about year 2. I am so excited to announce our year 2 books. We have 9 incredible graphic novels coming out in 2022, and today we are joined by all of the creative teams on these wonderful books. We're going to share some art, we're going to talk a little bit about the books, and we're going to get to meet all of our incredible teams. So I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to kick it off with some books that may look familiar to some people who have been following us thus far, because we have 3 sequels coming out in 2022 from books that we launched in 2021. First, I'm going to share my screen. First up is Verse, Volume 2, The Second Gate from writer-illustrator Sam Beck. Verse is an incredible, lyrical, and stunning fantasy series that follows 2 best friends, Fife, who has no magic, and Nietia, who has arguably too much magic in a world where magic is deeply feared and complicated. In the sequel that we have coming out in 2022, Nietia and Fife have to part ways in order to discover their own destinies after the wake of a tragedy. We are joined today by Sam Beck, writer-illustrator Sam Beck. Hey, Sam. Oops, sorry, I have to stop sharing my screen. Hey, Sam. I know that we've had a couple of panels with you this week already, but I just wanted to give you a chance to say hi and say what you're excited about Volume 2 and for people to look forward to in this next volume.
I'm so excited for Volume 2. It's been in the works for quite a long time. It's kind of ready to go, so I've been sitting on it for quite a few years. If you like journeys, if you like character building, if you like a lot of feelings and emotions, you're gonna love book 2 and what it has to offer. And as you continue exploring these characters' journeys in Verse.
Yes, and for people who have been following Verse as a webcomic for so long, there is material in this book that you will have never, ever seen. And that is really, really exciting. We're so pumped to be continuing this series. So thank you, Sam. And then next up, we have WRASSLE Castle Volume 2, Riders on the Storm, and WRASSLE Castle Volume 3, Put a Lid on It. This is a 3-book series, and we have Volumes 2 and 3 coming out in 2022. All 3 books in this series are coming out within 1 calendar year, which, let me tell you, never happens in the world of graphic novels, but this team is incredible, and you're going to get this full story, this full series within our first launch year, and I'm so excited about it. In WRASSLE Castle Volume 2, Riders on the Storm, it's our sequel. Our protagonist, Lydia Riverthane, is going to face more dangerous challenges as she fights for her brother John Gator Tromp's freedom after he's accused of treason. And also fighting for WRASSLE and glory. And then in our final volume, Lydia and her brother uncover that the plot against them goes a lot deeper than they realized. Today we are joined by the writing team, Paul Tobin and Colleen Coover. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hey. So it is insane that you have all 3 of these books coming out within 1 calendar year. Just tell us a little bit about what you're excited about Volumes 2 and 3 and this whole series as a trilogy.
I'm excited about the danger level amps up in volume 2 and continues through volume 3. So there's lots of action. There's lots of friendship, tension, and helping each other between the main characters. There's some new characters pop up in the
new wrestlers.
Lots of wrestling. The tournament.
I'm excited about, like, Lydia gets actually drawn out of the city where she was born, so it's like a literal way of her growing up and seeing the world, because that's what Wrestle Castle is about, really, is a sense of adventure that you have at that age of like what's next. So she actually has to leave her city for reasons, and I like to see that growth in her as she starts to see some of the world.
Absolutely. I'm so pumped that we're going to get this complete series in everyone's hands by the end of 2022. Thank you guys for being so amazing. I'm so excited for them to see Lydia's story. All right, so now we are going to be announcing some of our brand new books. Yay, drum roll. We are going to be starting off with, here we go, KENZIE'S Kingdom. KENZIE'S Kingdom from writer Shea Fontana, artist Agnes Garbeska, and colorist Silvana Briss. In KENZIE'S Kingdom, Kenzie hates that her family moved to a castle to start a medieval-themed resort, but all that changes when a time-traveling squire needs Kenzie's help to get back home to the past. From the best-selling creative team behind DC Superhero Girls, this is a perfect read for fans of Phoebe and her Unicorn, The Babysitter's Club, or Witches of Brooklyn. We are joined today by writer Shea Fontana and artist Agnes Garbeska. Hey, guys.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about how KENZIE'S Kingdom came together and what you guys are so excited and what makes this story so special. Obviously, you've worked together before. What made you want to tell this story?
Yeah, well, for me, I had been a few years ago, I was working on a Disney on Ice show, which was incredibly fun and meant that I got to go back and watch all the princess movies in the world, basically, and get into that sort of princess lore. And there was so much about this kind of princess storytelling that I absolutely loved. And then there were some things that weren't exactly cool anymore. So with this story, I really wanted to make, this modern princess story and show a girl who is really finding herself, being empowered by her princesshood and learning to proudly own the space that she takes up. And I couldn't be more excited to be working again with Agnes, who is just one of the most amazing artists out there right now. And I will turn it over to her to talk a little bit about the art.
Oh, yeah. I had an absolute blast, and I love working with Shea because Shea puts a lot of trust and freedom in me, and that brings out the best of me. And I love drawing Kenzie. I think she's one of the favorite characters I've drawn in a while because she goes through personal growth that's extremely relatable and extremely fun to draw because her mannerisms change from the start to the end of the book. And I think a lot of people are going to like it and find a lot of similarities in themselves as they read the story.
I agree. I absolutely love Kenzie. Her hoodie alone is its own character, which makes me really happy. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I'm so excited about this one. All right, next up is Ghoster Heights from the writing team of Corey Lansdale and Kelly Mellings and illustrated by Lisa LaRose. When Ona moves into her Baba's apartment complex after a traumatic event, she befriends a ghost she discovers haunting the boiler room. When her new friendship starts allowing her to see other ghosts, the ghosts who haunt the other residents of her building, she decides to use her ability to help her new neighbors face their troubles and free themselves from their specters. In doing so, however, Ona must eventually come face to face with a much darker foe, her own trauma and grief. The earnestness of Judy Blume meets the raw emotion of I Kill Giants in this beautifully hopeful story about childhood tragedy. Today, we are joined by the entire creative team, Corey, Kelly, and Lisa. Hey, guys.
Hey. Hello.
This is all of your first debut graphic novel, which if I showed anyone this book and told them that, they wouldn't believe me because it's amazing. I love this book so much. Can you guys tell, I know it's really personal for all three of you in really different ways. So if you guys could give us a little bit about how this story came together and what makes it so personal for you, why you wanted to tell it together.
We're all gonna not go first.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Corey, you have to start.
All right. Well, the book really comes from a place of honesty for us. It's like you said, it is quite personal. So we kind of started, Kelly and I started with the idea of a nugget kind of pulling from our own personal journeys through our own trauma in our childhoods. And so for me personally, I come from a blended family, and it's kind of talking about, the book talks about how we deal and how we approach our trauma that we all inevitably face in life. My hope is that the book will reach one kid who's potentially going through something, or an adult who's gone through something, and start to open up dialogue around how we deal with our trauma. And hopefully they can see in the protagonist's journey, in Ona's story, they can kind of see her own sort of strategies for how she deals with that trauma, how she comes face to face with it, and how it sort of integrates and becomes a part of her, but she's also able to move through it and then, you know, move forward in her life. So that's my little spiel.
It's a good one. Kelly, you have to go next.
Okay. Well, I mean, we take those stories that we love as children, and we take them throughout our lives. And a lot of the stories that we take when they impart a message or help us deal with things or see the world in a different way, I think they even mean a little bit more. And so like Corey said, we all kind of have our own stories of how we've dealt with trauma or it's affected our family. And we've tried to, you know, craft a story where Ona has this realistic, honest experience, a challenge in her life, and she's got to deal with it and confront it, and then wrapping it within genre. Just kind of like for Corey and I know for sure, and I'm sure Lisa too, we gravitated towards genre stories as kids, and those were the ones that we held close, and those ones that had that extra little bit of heart to them or a message, those were the ones that seemed to impact our lives or kind of stick with us as we grew up into adults. And so that's kind of what we wanted to do, and to create something that maybe could start conversations or be used as a dialogue piece around kids dealing with their own issues or trauma.
Awesome. Lisa, what's it been like drawing this book?
Pretty crazy. Like you mentioned, like I haven't done a project like this before. When Corey and Kelly approached me with it, I don't normally take a lot of like commission work or projects outside of just, you know, what I'm normally painting. So, but when I heard their pitch, I was like, I gotta do this project. Like, this is both like something I would really be interested in drawing, which is ghosts and cute kids and cats, and something that I think is really important to talk about and share. So, which is exploring, you know, all these big feelings when you're small and you don't know how to deal with them. So yeah, I just was like, all right, I guess I'm a comic artist now. So I'm doing this project.
Well, yeah, it looks incredible. And I'm very excited for everyone to meet Ona and Haunty, our wonderful ghost, and the entire ensemble cast of cats. As Lisa said, there is there's a people ensemble cast to this book, and then there is like a subcast to this book of all of the cats that are in this apartment building, and they all have personality. I can't wait for you guys to meet them. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
All right, next up, POIKO, Quests and Stuff, from writer-illustrator Brian Middleton. Have you ever had to deliver a care package to a dragon with allergies? Have you ever been waylaid by a school of space fish? That's just an average day for POIKO, the kingdom's most reliable courier. The world can be a big, scary place, but it can also be wondrous. Sad things can happen, but there are always good friends to turn to or new friends to make. And no matter what, there's always, always someone who can use your help. POIKO learns all these lessons and more every time he brushes his tail, puts on his hoodie, and steps out onto a new adventure with his best friend, Kenzie. The philosophical whimsicality of Calvin and Hobbes makes the fantasy-scapes of Adventure Time in this modern-day classic. So we're joined today by Brian Middleton, who's the writer, artist, colorist, and letterer. You are one of those rare unicorns who does literally every single part of this book, and it is so beautiful. Tell us a little bit about how you came to this idea and why you're telling this particular story.
Yeah, so when I first started POIKO, my pap had just passed away, and so it really imparted on me this idea to get a piece of myself and put it down on paper so that my daughters would always have something of me to hold on to. So that was kind of the beginning of this thing. And as I got to talking to Tay about the book, I realized there's a lot of value in the kids genre and being able to take the experiences that you have, whatever wisdom you may have gained, and being able to communicate that to the younger generation, hopefully give them some language to deal with grief or hardship, or what do you do when your friend moves away. And then I thought also what would make that cooler is dragons and dinosaurs and that kind of thing. So it was good combo, you know.
It always helps to have dragons in absolutely everything. And I also love the dynamic, you know, POIKO is obviously the title character here, but he's got a best friend, Kenzie, who is a bat. And their relationship, their friendship is really the centerpiece of every single episode that they go on. How did you come up with those characters, and what was that chemistry like as a cartoonist, finding them?
Well, so I was saying I wanted to get a piece of me down on paper, and I really feel like, you know, we have multitudes in us. So I have this side where you want to chase down every rabbit hole and you want to do whatever. And then you also have your mom's voice telling you, know, you need to do your assignment before you go outside. So it was nice to kind of take that whimsical guy and make that POIKO where he wants to help everyone, even if it means he's going to be late with a delivery. And then Kenzie's that voice that brings him back and says, hey, no, we have to finish the job first. So it's nice to have those kind of two balances and not make it stressful and strife, but these two things work so well together if they're on the same page type of thing.
And I also really love one of your like mission statements from the beginning was you know, when you were going through each episode, you wanted the conflict to always be outward, and that all the characters, you know, it's the friendship and the trust that they've built that gets them through the adventures, but it's always some external force that comes at you, whether it's a dragon or falling down a tree and finding yourself in a river underground. Mm-hmm. I've always really loved that about the series.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of strife on TV that comes from interpersonal. So it's kind of my idea to get away from that and get a different type of conflict in the story.
Well, we absolutely love it. I can't wait for kids to explore this crazy world with all of these creatures that you have. They're going to spend hours just looking at every page because you have so many Easter eggs and little critters in the background.
Yes, I'm excited.
Me too. Thanks so much, Brian. All right, next up, we have Lunch from writer Heather Newfer. So new to her middle school and terrified of navigating the cafeteria at lunchtime, Tia discovers that when she eats the same food as someone else, she can hear that person's thoughts. Quickly, she and her new friend Lee discover that this power can help them fight back against the popular kids who have excluded them from their lunch table. As Tia connects with more and more of her classmates, not only does she realize that the popular kids are just as nervous and insecure as she is, but she discovers the power of creating community through food. A perfect bridge to fantasy for readers of Smile, Awkward, or Click. And today we are joined with writer Heather Newfer. Hey, Heather.
Hi, Shay. Hi, everybody. Wow, we got a great panel, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here and so excited about our book.
I know. So you and I have known each other for literally ever. We've known each other for like 11 years. And this book came together a little bit different from most books in that, you know, we knew we wanted a book in this space. We had like kind of an idea for the title, a little bit of, you know, kind of what we wanted the book to be. And more, we wanted to find someone that we knew could write a book that we're going to really engage kids in this space, you know, that are just in this space of like exploding middle grade graphic novels. And you were literally the first person I thought of. And I hit you up and I said, Heather, what do you think of this? Do you have a pitch? And you wrote back this like unbelievable pitch that was just so full of heart and joy and these characters, and the whole thing was just amazing. And so here we are. So you can just tell us a little bit about what's, you know, you've obviously worked in tons of kids comics before. You've been doing this for a long time. What do you love about working in kids comics, and what's been so fun about working on this particular book?
Oh yeah, this project is sort of like the perfect storm of storytelling for me. It's both so much heart, and you know, Tay has been excellent at helping develop characters and make everybody be people that you love and you relate to. So that really resonated with me, because what I love about working in the kids space, and what I always do every time I'm trying to come up with an idea, is like, what did I want to read when I was a kid? What wasn't there that I wish was? And I also think a lot about with like what I struggled with as a kid, and try to come up with things that would be an accessible situation for kids to read and feel a little less lonely. Like our main character, Tia, in this story, she really struggles with anxiety, and speaking her mind is a really hard one for her, which I find super relatable as an adult. So as a kid, 100%, right? And my favorite part about making kids content is crafting this stuff that doesn't just entertain them. Of course, we want them to be entertained. We have a book where a food fight could, pop out at any second, which is the best. But we want to empower them too, and we want to make them be able to, access their own kindness and kindness towards themselves and people around them. So this was a great opportunity to do all those things, entertain and help all of the little us's that are out there in the world. And obviously working with you, Tay, is one of my favorite things in the whole world because we've waited so long to.
I know. I feel like we've been trying to make this happen for a decade. It's real. And we get to have food fights while we're doing it and figure out crazy recipes.
Right. And that's the dream, right? As working with an editor who fosters really great storytelling and really cares about making stories that resonate and not just, oh, we're making kids stuff and we're putting it out there because they'll gobble it up. Like it has to have a really high level of thought and care, which is why I'm so excited about this book. And I get to think about food like all day long, which is
this book makes me hungry. We have like the actual hungry. We have like recipes throughout the book as they like try and cook and figure out, how to connect with other kids. And every single time I read your script, I'm like, oof, I need lunch. And, like in many ways, I need lunch. Well, I'm so excited about this book, and I'm so excited that I get to work with you finally. Thank you so much for being here. All right, next up, we have got The Brothers Flick from writer Ryan Haddock and artist Nick Weich. At Strander House, things are weird. There's an ogre wedged in the closet, and you have to be careful not to slip on the leak coming from the ocean in the attic. What's possibly weirder than the fact that you can walk into the bathroom and end up in Next Tuesday are the four brothers who investigate these strange occurrences. The Brothers Flick. Leo, Desmond, Remy, and Cub seek to get to the bottom of every bump in the night, every shadow you swear you saw move. If they happen to stumble upon the answers to the mysterious disappearance of their own family along the way, all the better. Sherlock Holmes meets Wayside School in this Edwardian-era supernatural sleuthing graphic novel. Today, we are joined by writer Ryan Haddock and artist Nick Weich. Sorry. We just talked about me pronouncing your name and I did it wrong. I'm the worst. Anyway, hey guys. So you guys knew each other before this pitch even came together. Talk to me a little bit about what it was that, you guys were friends before, but what was it about this story and working on this story together that's been so great?
I can go first if you want, Nick.
Go for it.
So yeah, we met through a local comic creators group. There's a bunch of different writers and artists that all come together and actually made it a comic shop here in the city we live in. And I had seen his artwork before, so I knew I wanted to work with him. I really liked his style. One of the books that I loved when I was growing up and then ended up watching the show later on was Tintin. And his style just reminded me so much of Tintin. So we talked for a little bit. I actually met him at a coffee shop and I brought a couple of ideas with me. And I pitched a couple and he kind of, and then when I mentioned this story about these four brothers who solve supernatural mysteries. I specifically remember I had my notebook on the counter. He pointed at it, like tapped on it, said, no, this is the one we're going to do. So
I said the same thing, if it makes a difference, when I saw the page.
That makes me feel really good.
Nick, what about you? What was it about this one that made you tap the paper?
How personal it is, because all four boys are based off of Ryan's sons. And when he told me he had 4 kids, my jaw hit the table. But when, I saw the passion and love about telling stories about his kids in this weird world. And he flatters me very highly by saying Tintin, because my passion in cartooning is European kids cartooning, like Spirou, Asterix, that whole Franco-Belgian school of art. And because of that, I could see that world immediately. As soon as he started explaining it to me, the boys started popping into my head, the world started popping into my head. and it was something that made me want to pick up my pencil and draw. So, and it's been that way with every chapter that we've done so far. You know, as we're in progress of this, every chapter I get more passionate about and feel like it gets better and better with everything that we're doing. So I can't wait for it to be done, but also to be out in the world, because I can't wait to see what the audience thinks of it.
One of the things I love about this one so much is the structure. You know, each chapter is its own mystery, its own little Hardy Boys, you know, supernatural mystery. But then as you go on, you know, you guys explore these kind of deeper themes and deeper things that the boys are going through together, and these sense of found family and what family means and what loss means. And I think it's just such a special story, you know, as a complete volume. But then each one is such a fun. The ogre stuck in the closet is just my favorite one. Teleports in there and he's too big for the closet and can't get out. And that was the one that sold me on it. I love that ogre so much.
And what I don't think we realized what we were bringing to it, and particularly what Ryan is bringing to it through the subtext and the themes. And you saw those and helped us get there. And it was all there to begin with, but we were just kind of poking at it until I think you helped us get a clear vision. And now that's the world that we're playing in, that's the world that we're living in. And we get to say some, what I hope are important things for readers of all ages here, but kids particularly, about what is a family? How can a family can be whatever you want it to be. You know, how do you find that group that helps you get through loss and deal with grief? And how do you then move beyond that into idealizing who you want to become? And that, to me, is kind of really, we didn't know it at the time, but that's really what the story became about. And it's so exciting.
Yeah, I cannot wait for people to read this one. Thank you guys so much for being here. And now for our final one, which I love all of you, and I shouldn't be saying this on a panel full of all of my creative teams, but this is my favorite creative team. I love them so much. So here is our final book, Creepy the Snowman. Half melted and half evil, Creepy the Snowman, along with his fire-breathing sidekick Space Chicken, seeks to destroy children's fun, find love, and either save the world or destroy it, depending on what day of the week it is. Created and written by brothers Noah and Jackson, along with their father, critically acclaimed horror writer Michael Morisi. This is a book for kids, by kids, for readers of Dogman, Hilo, and Max and the Midnights. So we couldn't be joined today by two of our writers, Noah and Jackson, because they are currently in school. So they have recorded a video, and I will share it with you all right now.
I'm Noah Morisi. And I'm Jackson Morisi. We like Creepy because it's really funny. He's a really funny character, and we came up with him because, well, we saw this creepy Christmas snowman decoration thingy, and it had a smile that was very creepy. And they kept blinking his eyes, and it was very creepy. So that's why we made the comic up. And we also made fire-breathing chicken. Some more characters from Mars. Thank you. Bye. We hope you like the book when it comes out.
Mike, we are also joined today here by their father, Mike Parisi. Hey, Mike, how's it going? So
That's good.
This book came about in the most unusual way a book has ever come about in any book I've ever worked on. Obviously, the way it was from my side, at least, is I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Noah wrote a poem for school that I think in my memory went, Creepy the Snowman will get you, maybe today at noon, Creepy the Snowman will get you even on the moon. And you told that poem to Adrian, our editor-in-chief, and Adrian told me, and I said, if Mike and Noah actually pitched me that book, I would greenlight it on the spot. And then you did. And here we are. And now we're telling a book about Creepy the Snowman, largely written by Noah and Jax, your sons. Talk to me a little bit about just how much fun it's been. I know that I have had the absolute best creator calls I have ever had of my entire career on this book. There are fire-breathing velociraptors who only speak French. Creepy tries to eat ice cream and is accused of being a cannibal. This book is just like the most ridiculous, most wonderful thing I have ever worked on. What has it been like from your end?
Oh gosh, it's just crazy. You know, my two kids, you know, they've been inundated with comics their whole life. You know, because this is what I do. They've read comics forever, so they have these wild imaginations. They're both just unhinged. You know, Noah is the older boy. He's, you know, just the quiet, kind of crazy, like methodical. Jax is probably has a lampshade on his head right now somewhere, and like that's that's just who they are. And it started, like you said, like that poem's actually I put it on Twitter because Noah had an assignment to write a poem for school, and that's what he wrote. And I was like, oh God, you know, like here's what you did for class. And I put it on, and Adrian was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. And yeah, I got shared with you, Tay, and it went off and running. And it's just the stuff that they come up with is nuts. It's just nuts. We go, when they get home from school, we're gonna do it today and work on it. And I'm just kind of distilling their ideas. Che, I mean, I showed you that page recently. That was literally Jackson just talking to me. He at one point called the one character says a hippy dippy. I don't know what that means. I don't know where he came up with that, with that phrase. But it's in there now. So he's there. It's just a blast. It's just a blast. And I love, like, you know, from just like a creative perspective and writing books for kids, you know, now we are family readers, my wife too. We read, you know, books, comics, read everything. And I've now have to Noah's 9 solid, you know, years of reading kids books. And like, it's sort of sometimes hard to find stuff that like is really, really for kids. And like, I think this really kind of like solves that problem because it's written by kids. Who else could it be for? I mean, it's for me because I love it. I just sit here, I read it probably anyway, just because it's so crazy. But you know, it's thoroughly for kids. You know, it's just so crazy and wild and imaginative and fun. And yeah, it's a joy. It's a joy to write a crazy, you know, creepy snowman and his friend, the fire-breathing chicken from Mars.
Yeah, the most evil of all the space chickens. I think
most
he's so evil that the other evil space chickens on Mars exiled him. Best backstory of all time.
Yeah.
I think you're right though. But the fact that, you know, getting to work was such, you know, all of us, you know, we work in kids comics, we work in kids content, we love kids content. But for me, having done this for so long, getting to work with that just like completely unfiltered child imagination has been so incredible. And, you know, obviously, you know, we as the adult support system for this are trying to give it some semblance of a linearity so that other kids can engage with it too. And it's not just like a complete madcap brain cloud, but the stuff they come up with, you can't, only a kid can make it up. And I'm so excited that other kids are going to get to just hear it directly from the horse's mouth and have that kind of just, I mean, we talk about how kids comics is so fun because anything is possible. Paul and Colleen, I know you guys have said that before, just anything is possible, it's boundless, but they're actually doing it and showing me every day like how boundless it really is. You know, the fact that Creepy wants to grow up to be a like baseball player on the Chicago White Sox, but he can't because he only uses a snowball instead of a baseball and breaks and he gets sad and leaves. Like, where does that come from? It's the best thing in the whole world. I'm really excited about this one. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your kids with us and letting us pick their brains and write this crazy, crazy book. It's been such a blast.
Oh yeah, they love it. They thoroughly love it.
And there's going to be lots of back matter in the back of this one for the actual comics that they have drawn themselves as well. So if anyone was worried about that, you'll get the real content in the back. All right, that's the time that we have. I want to say thank you so much for all of our amazing creators for year 2. This is just like such an amazing thing to be able to talk about all these books. I love them all so much. We have such a great variety of genre books for kids. I'm hoping that, you know, with this slate, that any kid that loves reading, that loves graphic novels, that loves genre in any way, they're going to find something that they love, and then they're going to find another thing that they love and realize that they love all of it very, very quickly. We've got a great team here. I've been so honored to work on all of your books, and I'm so excited to get them in the hands of readers next year. Thank you everyone for joining us. If you want more information on any of these books, check out readwonderbound.com. They're all going to be up later today. And we'll have more announcements coming out throughout the summer for all of these books. And also check out our virtual booth before the show is over. There's a lot of free downloadables, previews, all kinds of fun stuff to check out. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you to all of our amazing creators. We love you.